Hey, what's up, everyone? It's your girl, Sherelle. I'm the host of Let's Talk the Show, and this ain't a podcast. I want to thank y'all for tuning in with me this Tuesday, like y'all do every Tuesday. We got a great show. I got a great show in store for you. But before I go any further, I want to make sure you click that button in your lower right corner and share this live with 3 friends you think will love the conversation. Yo, we got a special guest tonight, and we're going to be talking about all things wellness in the city of Detroit and in Metro Detroit. But let me make sure to go share this live with some friends I think will love it first. See, I always be wanting to make sure that my face don't look crazy when I'm sharing this, because it literally sends like a screenshot of your face when you send it. So I'll be trying to look crazy. Okay, there we go, you guys. Let me give it a second. Y'all, let me tell y'all, just like it's been a long time since I actually had to like tie my edges down, and I literally had to freaking put this on there, right? So y'all, there we go. Okay, I see y'all joining. We're gonna let a few more people join. I see our special guest is here. Before I get her on, I'm gonna go ahead. You know what? I'll bring her on, then I'll say what I'm grateful for. Hey, make sure you guys drop something in the comment section that you are grateful for, okay? So let me see. You know, Instagram be acting so. Hey, how are you today? What are you grateful for? Oh, there we go. Fried chicken? I like some fried chicken. I would like some fried chicken. Let's see. Can y'all hear me? Y'all must can't hear me. Y'all responding. Hello.
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 How are
I'm
you?
good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good, thank you.
That's good. I'm so happy.
Finished up torture with the girls.
Okay. Oh, well, we got you right in good time. Okay. Do we have time, or do we gotta make it quick?
Oh no, we're good.
Okay.
They're done.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, welcome to the show, Briahna. I'm so happy to have you this evening.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Okay. So the way the show starts off, we always have to get something that we're grateful for. So I'll go ahead and say that today I am just grateful for another day to try to get it right. So what are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful that we had 100% attendance in class today with all my ladies. So I am so happy. Just been really trying to work on developing habits and things outside of just working out. So today was a really good day for everybody. I was productive at home all day today. So I'm going to say I'm grateful for productivity and accountability partners.
I like that.
Yeah.
And so you made a good point. What do you mean, like, what do you mean about developing habits outside of working out? Just like any habits in general, or things that are conducive to making your fitness journey flow smoother?
So really just about full circle wellness, not necessarily just the physical aspect of it. Because what I've noticed from a lot of my clients when we work, see y'all later. What I've noticed with a lot of my clients is that their mindset is not in the place where we need it to be right now. So the physical aspect is just one tiny part, even though it's the big part,
Yeah.
it's still one tiny part, because you got to have the mindset to even get you here, for you to drive here, for you to be disciplined outside of when we're just working out. So that's what the Build a Body workshop program is about. So it's just, bringing everything full circle. So like one of the things that we put in our group was for, like I said, everyone to bring in a habit. So if that's waking up at 7 a.m., if that's making sure that you cook dinner every day instead of buying food. So just the small things that equal up to the big things.
I definitely agree. You know what? I didn't think about that. But that is a really good point, because so sorry. Away from home, guys. I think that's a really good point that most people don't think about. They think that you just show up and you work, and then they find it really hard to stay consistent. And it's because in a lot of other areas in your life you're not consistent, or you're not disciplined in, and it's really hard to pin one thing down that hurt a lot. It hurt to work out a little bit if you ain't been doing it. So that is a really good point. But I do want to talk about well, let me go back. So this interview basically started because your post on Facebook. You said you wanted to look for someone that was in PR to talk about all the amazing things that you're doing in Detroit and around Detroit. And now we're here. So let's talk a little bit about your fitness journey, and then we can get into all the amazing things that you are doing with your personal brand as well as with the Hype Wellness Group. Yeah. So tell me, I know I've actually been following you for a while, so I've kind of seen your journey go. Tell me, I feel like your journey started like maybe 3 or 4 years ago, your fitness journey, but tell me a little bit about that, because you've had kids in the time, like it's been a lot that's going on in between.
Yes. So it actually started in 2016. I had just lost both of my grandparents on my father's side, which were my only grandparents, because I never got a chance to meet my mother's dad and her mother because they passed away before I was born. So these were my, like, you know, your matriarch, the patriarch of your family, and they both ended up passing away 6 months apart from each other from colon cancer. And then my grandmother, she always had like heart problems, things of that sort, from different habits that she had when she was younger that basically just caught up with her. So once I figured out, like, wait, they both, you know, they were in their 60s. We're not talking about like 80, 90 years old. So when I saw that, I was like, wow, you know, they're not here because of the actions that they, you know, chose to indulge in when they were younger. Yeah. So I'm like, I want to be here for my great grandkids. Yeah. And this was even before, you know, I had my first son. So I had lost about 30 pounds just off of diet and meal prepping. I didn't know what to do in the gym. The only thing that I knew was get on the treadmill and walk. So that was my first time losing, you know, a significant amount of weight and just developing that habit of, you know, eating the same thing every morning, not indulging in stuff, because I was working in restaurants. I was a server. I was also a prep cook. So it's so easy to get tempted, especially when the food is free.
Definitely when it's free.
Definitely when it's free. And I was working at a pasta place. Yeah. And I'm a pasta potato chip, potato salt girl. So it definitely taught me a lot about discipline, because I feel like in my younger years, like my parents, you know, of course, tried to tell me like, you need to wake up on time, you need to do this, you need to do that. Yeah. But it didn't really like hone in until, you know, I had my own apartment. I had my own car, you know. I was still sheltered in a way because I was in school, but still that accountability of making sure like I show up for myself, because if I don't do it, nobody else is going to do it. So that was the first time around. And then the second time was after my first son. That's when I actually started getting deeper into my yoga practice. So at the time I was going to it was called Starseed Yoga at the time. And that's where I ended up getting my yoga teacher training. But the biggest thing for me was to find something that I was able to do that wasn't as strenuous as working out, because I had a C-section.
Oh, I'm right there with you.
Yeah. So I was like, you know, I do want to be active. I wasn't really worried about snapping back or anything like that. That wasn't my goal. It was just more so like keep my body moving, making sure that I'm doing something that's healthy for me. And then I had a really, really great support system. And that's one thing that I feel privileged of. So I knew all of the things that were going to come up with postpartum depression. I was preparing myself for those stages after I had him. So yoga was something that not only catered to the physical, it also catered to the mental and the spiritual aspects of what I was going through. So I ended up doing that. Eventually I started working out. I had got a trainer. But for the first 6 months after I had him, I was just strictly doing yoga. I wasn't doing anything. I had my nutrition already down packed from the first time. This time I added in yoga, and then I slowly started to incorporate strength and conditioning. So that was around 2018, 2019. And then in 2020, I actually got my yoga teacher certification December of 2019, and then COVID hit. So there's that.
That's on the monster.
Yeah.
COVID was a big thing. A lot people were stuck in the house. People was going crazy. I was going crazy. I'm the people. Yes. I'm the people that was going crazy in the house.
Yeah. So, and it was so much that was happening. At that time, I was pregnant with my second son. And I hadn't even told anybody because I just was like, you know, get through the first trimester. Right. And then during like the end of my first trimester, going into my second trimester, that's when COVID came. So of course I had to tell everybody I was pregnant. But yeah, so that really put into perspective for me, like, you've been doing the things that you need to do. So when everybody was breaking out with the steams and, oh, you know, I need to get healthy and all that, it was like, if you didn't already build up your immune system, if you weren't already working out, if you weren't already eating the things that you were supposed to, we saw so many of our people, African American people to be specific, that passed away from pre-existing conditions.
Absolutely.
And the majority of the time, I actually had a relative where, you know, he didn't even have COVID. He just couldn't get to the hospital. So he ended up passing away in our home because they were scared to take him to the hospital thinking he's going to get COVID because he already had pre-existing conditions and then passed away from the pre-existing condition.
Absolutely.
So it just was like, okay, you know, at this point, I got to start putting it out to everybody and letting them know, like, we need to get ourselves together. And so that's when I started bringing in, you know, hosting classes, personal training, things of that sort.
Okay, you made a really good point. I want to talk about this because I'm a big person. I hate when people are like, oh, I'm working on my summer body. And no offense, they kids are out of shape as hell. Kids ain't doing nothing in the house on a damn Roblox. It's blowing my mind. So you talked about having your grandparents pass away at such an early age. And now you understand the impacts of what your environment and your diet looks like when you're young and how it impacts you later on in life. How are you incorporating what you saw and what you learned every day with your children?
So it's hard. I am not gonna sit up here and say that every day we in here doing yoga and all of that.
Eating vegan, I get it.
Yeah. So with my children, they actually are pescatarian, so they don't eat meat. That's something that I incorporated since before I even had my first son, just because I knew that if I opened the door with family, they wouldn't know how to close it.
Yeah.
So instead of me saying, oh, you know, he can dibble and dabble, I just cut it off. And now it's to the point where my son, like, he'll come to you and let you know, I don't eat meat. Like, I eat veggie burgers. I eat fish. I eat shrimp, you know. So he's already accustomed to it. So it's not like he feels like he's missing out on anything. Right. Or I don't think that he's been in a position to where he feels like he's missing out on anything. As far as the physical movement, I don't force them to do anything right now. I feel like they're still too young. They're 5, and my youngest, he'll be 3 in September. But, you know, I'll catch, like, my oldest, he'll do, like, headstands out of nowhere on the couch. And it's the funniest, cutest thing ever. So I told myself, you know, eventually, because he'll be going to kindergarten this year, I wanted to do more to get him in different activities and showcase what different physical movements are. But, you know, if they come to work with me, they'll pick up weights and start working out with the girls. My youngest, he's been around it the longest because I started entrepreneurship when he was born. So that's my baby. I had him with me every day in the gym. He'd be running around, working out with the girls, doing all type of stuff.
I love that. I think that is, I didn't necessarily mean like having them like, I didn't think they was in this boy lifting weights and nothing. just exposing them to it, because a lot of times people like to keep like what they're doing, like especially like exercising, eating right, they'll keep it separate from their family. And it's like, no, you kind of gotta share the wealth. Like, you gotta share what you know in order to help them live longer, because one day you are going to be gone, and we don't want them gone too soon after you or before you because of their diet. So let's also talk about, I was reading about you, and you are I want to make sure I say it right, trauma-informed wellness coach.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit about how trauma can affect us in our fitness journey, specifically women? Because I've read that it can have a more severe impact on women in their journey to losing weight or just getting in shape in general.
Yeah, it's the language. That's the biggest part about it. You know, we see people joke on social media like, oh, get your fat A up, get off the couch, da 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 da. But it's like, how is that supposed to motivate me? By talking down?
Yeah.
So I actually took the trauma-informed training in 2020. Yeah, in 2020, April of 2020. And it was just really expanding on my vocabulary, especially because I do a lot of classes with children as well. I work with student athletes, and you'll be surprised in that culture of student athletes, like, they talk to those kids crazy, especially the football coaches.
Yeah.
Just, you know, learning to be mindful of how I want people to get things done. I'm not saying like I'm the softest trainer ever, but there's just a way to go about things that doesn't trigger someone. And usually I like to stay away from like calling people out in front of everybody, or just, you know, calling out the things that you didn't do or anything. I might leave a question open on the floor for everybody. And it's to the point where, like, they'll tell them themselves before I even ask the question. Or if we're working out and I see somebody is lacking, like Taylor had an amazing weekend, so she came in sluggish, and I'm like, oh girl, must have been partying this weekend, you know. So it's just about, you know, still letting them know, like, I'm holding you accountable for what you said you wanted to do, but it's not in a way where I'm demeaning you or talking down on you.
Absolutely. Now, I will ask that when I saw trauma informed, I definitely took it as like some of the trauma that we may have experienced in our childhood or growing up through teenage. Can you tell me how that might impact a woman losing weight, or just anyone in general losing weight, or just their fitness journey in general?
So I tend to stay away from things like that because I am not a therapist. I am not a psychotherapist. And you will see, being in this position of being a wellness coach and a wellness facilitator, people think that you know all of the answers. Like, I am not a doctor. So when it comes to like the very, very personal things, I really stay away from that, especially if we're in a group setting. Now, if I see that there's something going on, I will have individual conversations with my ladies. But I do my best to refer. So if there's something that you're going through and I know that I can find somebody to refer you to, that's my position. I really, really, truly, and I wish that other yoga teachers, especially yoga teachers, did more of separating themselves from things that you do not have expertise in, because you're giving people something and just basically establishing a trauma bond. So you're not really giving them the answers. You don't know the techniques to get them to the route. You don't even know if this person may be diagnosed with different mental disorders. So I really try to just stay in my lane. And anytime things like that come up with my girls, I just find somebody or find resources to send to them.
I want to thank you. Thank you so much, because we see far too often people dibble and dabble in stuff they have no business in. And you're absolutely right. You have no idea what these people have been diagnosed with. You do not know their medical history. You do not have the techniques to get them on the right path. And I think in this age of social media, people think they're using the words the right way and they're using them completely wrong. We are self-diagnosed, diagnosing us, and we're doing a lot of times more harm than good.
Yes, I didn't even, like, even before I was, because I did yoga, I've been doing yoga since I was in college, but I've only been a teacher since December of 2019. So even prior to that, people would try to be like, oh, you should, you know, teach yoga. And I'm like, no, I'm not a yoga teacher. I am a yoga enthusiast, but at that time I was not a teacher. So I'm not going to, you know, people tend to put you on a pedestal when you're leading a class, and you know, I just didn't want that to happen. So I'm very cautious about what I say I'm an expert in, because that's the whole point of why I established the Hype Wellness Group, was to be able to say, like, hey, I don't have all of the answers, but I'm connected to other people who may have answers.
I love that. That right there is a gem within itself, because too many people act like they know more than what they really know, and they're doing more harm than good to people.
Yes.
And let's talk about this. I know that you mentioned the rebranding of the Hype Wellness Group. I was able to look up. It looks like you started in February 2021, or was it started before then?
So, oh, it's locked. Hold on one second. Somebody trying to come in. I'm like, why is she just standing outside? Oh, so the Hype Wellness Group actually started in July of 2020.
Okay.
That's when I like first started hosting my classes. Girl, super pregnant, biggest belly in the world. But I started full time doing things for the company in 2021.
Okay.
And so that's when I like got into hosting training classes, hosting yoga classes, things of that sort. 2020, it was, you know, it was COVID. It was nowhere for us to really practice. I was 7 months pregnant when I started the Hype Wellness Group. So it's been a journey.
Can you tell me about some of your obstacles that you face? You being pregnant and doing anything. First of all, I think pregnancy is a disability. There's so many things you can't do, so many medicines you can't take, and half the time what they tell you is, oh, that's part of being pregnant. That's literally. Yeah. So tell me just about outside of being pregnant or whatever, what was your biggest obstacle starting that group and, you know, being on your own wellness journey and then trying to expand and teach other people what you've already learned?
I think it was just finding myself as a teacher, figuring out what my gift was. Also learning like just the mechanics of business, because that's another reason why I started the Hype Wellness Group. A lot of trainers, a lot of teachers, they don't know the back end of it. They don't know how to do things outside of just having a regular day-to-day class and promoting on social media and things of that sort. So I really wanted to step out of the box and create sustainable income for myself and my family, because this is something that I wanted to become an entrepreneur because I didn't want to have anybody else raising my kids. So that was my fire behind everything. Really just wanted to do everything that way. So the biggest obstacle was just getting to the point where I'm able to get contracts from Detroit Parks and Recreation and schools and things of that sort. So that way there's consistent income in what I have going on, and it's not just, you know, gig work.
I agree. I want to talk about let's talk about the sustainability. I'm sorry, not that. Collaboration. I've seen you collaborated with a bunch of people. What was that like, and why was it so important for you to bring? Because I see a lot of times there's a lot of other women. I've seen you with the headphones people, the silent group people. I've seen you, I believe her name is Adrian Moses. Am I saying it right?
Yes.
Moses. All right. So I've seen you collaborate with a bunch of other people, including men and women, but I see a lot of times it's women. Why was it so important? Or is that even intentional that you collaborate mostly with women? Or is it just like how it happens?
No, it's honestly just my network. And I reached out to men, so they'll be on board as well. I do a lot with, majority of my clientele is women. Absolutely. So that's really the reason why I collaborate with a lot of different women. And then just the whole point of collaboration, period. Like, I don't want to be a trainer for the rest of my life. I don't want to be a teacher for the rest of my life. I want to be able to have a business where I give those opportunities to other trainers and teachers. So that was the whole fuel behind collaborating with people, just to show the group aspect of the Hype Wellness Group.
I love that. And so tell me about what all the Hype Wellness Group offers. Because
so at this current moment, our current offerings are personal training, group classes, and physical fitness and yoga. We also service events. So like the things that you see us doing down at Spirit Plaza, anytime I do anything with Detroit Parks and Recreation, that's more on the event coordination side. So getting those sponsors to come down with the headphones, being able to be at the parks and putting out marketing and promotion and things of that sort. I actually started entrepreneurship in doing hospitality and events because I worked in restaurants for 7 years. So events and coordination is actually my first love. It was just the initial way that I went about it. People didn't really grasp the concept, so I had to pivot and change courses. And it just so happened that I had an opportunity to become a yoga teacher, and it's something that's the fuse of everything. That's kind of how it all comes together, because there's such a big opportunity and space for wellness events, especially in the city of Detroit. You usually see wellness events and retreats and all of that in places like Miami and New York, Atlanta, LA. We don't really have that here. Like, everybody does their own thing, but you don't see people come together, you know, collectively all the time. So that was the main point behind that.
And that's the one thing that I noticed about you. Like, I was like, wow, she really does work with a lot. There's always a lot of collaboration going on in your events to actually bring to the city and expand amongst the people that you're sharing it with. And I was like, I really like that, because you do see a lot of people just one off here, one off there. It does a lot more good when you come all over together. And it really focus down on what it is that you're trying to do. So I want to we're going to talk a little bit more about what we can look forward to with the rebranding of the Hype Wellness Group. And then we're going to talk about whatever event you have going in the city, because I want to share that, because I actually do want to attend. So I was looking.
Yes, you got to come.
So I was looking. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the rebranding of the Hype Wellness Group, and then we're going to get into any events that you have coming up.
Yes. So right now we're actually in a lot of different funding programs that I'm super, super excited about. So we are in the build category for Motor City Match for us to be able to get our facility soon.
Okay.
Yes, yes. So we're currently in that program along with the Metro Detroit Black Business Alliance, their Capital Connect program to get funding and lending from different places. So the main thing right now for me is just establishing the group, putting the people together. The easiest way for me to go about that is with personal trainers, yoga teachers, anyone who facilitates a physical fitness, just because that's what people know me for.
Yeah.
But the entire synopsis of everything is my slogan is, or our slogan is, wellness in every realm. So I eventually wanted to be not only just a place where you can come and take physical fitness classes, but maybe you need a pediatrician, maybe you need a dentist, maybe you need someone who's a dermatologist or an esthetician that services this exact thing. There's not a full directory for you to be able to see that. Also, in my experience, you have a lot of people that trainer hop. And what you'll see is in the personal training world and the yoga world, they're two completely different attitudes.
Yeah.
So in personal training, because our bread and butter comes from the work that we produce, you don't want somebody else to go anywhere else. So my biggest plan behind that was to actually list, what are your specific gifts as a trainer, so that way your people can find you and stick with you, rather than feeling like you gotta hop everywhere to find exactly what you need, because each trainer has their own style and own way about going about things, especially with yoga teachers too. So it's gonna be more of a collective, a collaborative collective. People who join the group right now will have access to be on the wellness directory, so that will be coming within the next 60 days.
Right.
And then our plans for 2024 are to open our facility and actually be able to have other trainers come in and use the space. The difference between the space that we're going to provide and the spaces that are currently available, usually as a trainer, that's where I'm speaking from as far as experience. You go into somebody else's space and you got to work around what they do, especially if you don't have a clientele. And so I wanted to create a space where not only, you could come in and host your classes, but you get that prime time slot.
Right.
And that way we can offer our community members a variety of different people to experience, rather than just only highlighting one person.
Absolutely.
So that's the plan. It's not only for the community, it's also for the practitioners, to create a safe space for them as well. So that way you don't have to go to the gym and be hiding that you got clients coming in there working. I also just wanted to make sure that I was able to facilitate the master contracts that I do have access to, because I'm only one person.
Yeah.
There's so many different opportunities. There's so many different, grants. There's so many different flushes of money that's coming from the government that all revolve around restorative practices. That's how I was able to get into the schools from the get-go, because there's money there. But like I said, a lot of us in the wellness world, we don't do our homework when it comes to the back end, and then we sit and we wonder why we're not getting what we need to be, paid for, or just being able to even have access to those type of opportunities.
I like that. I lied. I know I said I had one more thing, but I think I got like three more, because I want to know.
You are okay.
Okay, so one thing I want to know is what makes you so special as a trainer? Like, what's unique to how you train your clients? And why should people choose you? I just want to know that.
Yeah. I think with me, I'm a no nonsense, but I give grace. What I see that is different in the response that I get from my girls, like I said, I take wellness from a full approach, not just coming here and kick your butt. So there's, I like to say I'm always the voice in the back of their head when they're doing something they know they're not supposed to do. So I've been a mama basically my entire life. I raised my brother and sister from the time I was 10 years old. I have 2 kids now, so I've always been able to be very personable with my clients, and like you said, dive deeper into what the real issue is.
Absolutely.
But also still knowing my place and knowing when it's time to pass you along. Because I have clients that, I really like to say, I like to be the introduction. I like to be the person just to get your feet wet. I like to be the person just to get you started. And then there's somebody else out there that may be more extreme than me. But for my gifts, I just like to be the introduction to wellness for people, and that focuses on your habits. That focuses on, you know, so many other things just other than the physical fitness.
Absolutely. And then, okay, I love that. Oh, you are so you are so good. Okay, I don't want to get into that. I want to ask you something else. That's why I gotta write these questions down. I hate
It's
writing.
okay. It's okay. It'll come back. We got time.
We'll go ahead and spin around to what upcoming events do you have either in Metro Detroit or in Detroit or around Detroit?
Yes. So tomorrow, actually, and every Wednesday for the summer, we'll be at the Spirit Plaza downtown. So for July, we have what's called the Silent Series. We were able to team up with an awesome company. They're actually based in Ann Arbor, and I found him like, oh my God. Planning events is not for the weak.
It really
just say that.
It really is. It sure is.
You never know what's gonna happen. You never know how you gonna make stuff happen. But by the grace of God, every time I call out and tell him what I need, baby, he come and deliver it on a silver platter. So that was Woe Silent Disco. So they're teaming up with us for the summer, or for the remainder of July for the Silent Series. So that'll be every Wednesday for the month of July. I also host a workshop. It's called Build a Body Workshop, and there's a day where we go through, like today was our circuit day, Thursdays is our yoga day, and then Saturdays we combine the two. But that's where the accountability group comes in. They get information about nutrition, and then we also have other trainers that are coming to host different workshops and classes. So the registration for the next, it's a 3-month program, because I don't do 30 days. I do 3 months.
Why don't
You're not gonna do nothing in 30
Ooh.
days.
So
you gotta build the habit. You gotta build the mental toughness.
You sure do.
In that first 30 days. So that's one thing that I always tell my clients too. Like, I don't care what you do. I do care what you do in the 30 days, but I understand it's a transition.
Absolutely.
And so that's why I usually do my programs either 3 to 6 months, because that's when you'll be able to see like definite goals. And if you're not, then that just means you're not doing your homework at home.
I love it.
We'll also be in Atlanta this weekend, so I'm super excited about that. We got some ATL people on here.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll be she's my co-founder, Tanae Good. She is the owner of Fitness Dance Studio. She's actually the co-founder of the Hype Wellness Group. So she's hosting the class down there for fitness, and then we'll also be doing some yoga. What else do we got going on? I think that's it for right now as far as summer. We haven't put out anything for fall just yet. And then we'll also be teaching the babies at Northwest Activity Center this summer.
Ooh, I know what Northwest is. I love that place. I like that.
I'm like, I gotta get in the community. Everything don't need to just be downtown.
Yes. Ooh. I think that's so important. It's so important to literally bring it back and expose these babies, because you just don't know who you inspiring or what seed you are planting and what they is gonna grow.
And you know, because they have access to social media now, it's actually funny because a lot of them already like have an idea of what yoga is. But it helps because then I get to introduce them to another part that they may have not, you know, talked about. So like I do a lot with different daycare centers and things. It's like summer camps, things of that sort. And it's funny because we were talking about meditation. We were talking about the meditation and just how your nervous system is connected to your breath. And you know, these babies, they're very smart. There's one little girl, she's actually been diagnosed with severe anxiety. So her mother even like wrote me a note like, thank you so much. She came home teaching me the breathing techniques that you were telling her, because she had an incident at the school where, you know, she got scared, she got afraid, and she had an anxiety attack. So, you know, it was nice to know like, hey, like, you know, I'm able to give her a tool while she's in that situation to use to flow that energy through her body, rather than just thinking that you have to suffer through every attack.
Absolutely.
So that's how I'll get into, you know, if somebody's already diagnosed with something, then I'm able to work with them. Because now I know, you know, the doctor ain't gonna do nothing but tell you to breathe.
Definitely. They definitely.
When you go, I get so many people that get referred to me from physical therapists, and the stretches that they tell them to do is nothing but yoga.
Yeah. Right.
So once know what your diagnosis is and you get those recommendations from the doctor, then it makes it easier for me to just back up the doctor. But I'm not the doctor.
Ooh. Girl, you gonna win. You gonna win on that one alone, because that right there, in the world of being an expert and being a guru, you can't never lose when you know your lane. You can't never. It ain't never no traffic in it.
Yeah, and just based off of the principles of yoga, period, it just teaches you to always be a student.
Yeah.
Because you never know what you learn. That's why I love that I have the background of both. Because I'm not afraid to explore other people's classes. I'm not afraid to, dive deeper into my craft and learn more because there's a person attached to it. So I'm really, practicing getting rid of ego at the forefront and really like reaching out and asking for what I need.
I love that. I love that. I think you got to a right point with the yoga and the babies, because that's really what I wanted to talk about. Excuse me. A lot of people have kids, and a lot of people may think, oh, it's something for the adults, but can you give me 3 amazing benefits can you give me 3 great ways kids could benefit from yoga?
Yeah, so like I said, with the younger babies, especially my babies, what I do, especially in the morning, what we started practicing, we started doing this towards the end of the school year, but making sure that I'm disciplined enough for us to have a slow morning.
Woo!
I think that was something that was so beneficial to my oldest, not having to just rush and be on the go all the time, actually being able to sit down and eat breakfast together, even if it is cereal, you know what I'm saying? At least we got to sit down and enjoy that meal and take time to actually digest it. Another thing that I'll do is, like, if it's a super intense situation, especially with my oldest, he's very emotional. He like his mama. So he feels energy very, very, he's very aware of what's going on. So what I'll do with him, especially in the morning, like if I give them a big hug, I'll stretch them. I'll breathe with them. If it's something where, they're hyperventilating, I'm breathing in their ears, trying to get them to mimic the same tone that I'm doing. So those are just little things that I do with them right now. But like I said, I don't be like, oh, sit down, we doing yoga.
Yeah.
Because, no, he not doing that. And when I have tried this, mommy, this is boring. So,
Mommy is boring.
So I just try to, like, how you sneak in the vegetables, I just try to sneak in the yoga every now and then.
What can some moms or I'm gonna say parents, because dads is there too. What can some parents do in the morning to, because in the morning you rushing, that can be so tense, and sometimes we get so accustomed to rushing. That was something I had to learn. I was rushing everywhere, even when I had no set time to be somewhere. So what can we do? Like, just 3 things we can do in our everyday life, like we can do today, to start kind of releasing that tension, to just kind of put us in a more calmer headspace, even with our kids and ourselves.
I mean, girl, I'm a work in progress. I am not perfect. One of my things that I put in the accountability group actually for this week was, like, I need to be early, not on time. I need to be early. So it's honestly, you just have to keep doing it. It's like a muscle thing that I'm learning. And really, the 6 P's.
Talk to me.
As basic as it seems, like, proper preparation prevents piss poor performance.
There you go.
So, at the beginning of the week, baby, you got to iron out them clothes for the whole week. Where I say I lack is with the food. I will go there because I said my baby daddy on live, so he gonna get me if I don't be truthful. I'm definitely working on my meal prepping. Just making sure that, like, meals are ready to go, because we stay up late, we eat late. That's just like the culture in our household. Yeah. So I'm really going to work a lot more with developing, like, just making sure that I'm doing stuff on time. So today I was so productive. I'm like, I'm washing all the clothes and meal prepping dinner and taking out the meat for tomorrow.
Man,
so yeah, I think it's just a continuous thing. But I feel like I'm a lot better than where I was when I was 19, when I was 20, when I was 21. I'm 28 now, so I'm just growing into adulthood, but still giving myself that grace. But I think just, like, preparing, staying on schedule, putting things in your phone, not just trying to, like, live off of what is just inside of your brain. Yeah. It don't matter even if you stay at home. just with us using social media, we tend to forget. It's a lot of people, I feel like, with undiagnosed ADHD.
Ooh.
So, you know, I just take that into account, and every day it's like I'm not beating myself up about it,
Absolutely.
because we'll get into that, and then that'll make you just give up. Because yesterday I had a pretty rough day, but I woke up and I said, you know, today is a different day, so we got to do something different. So that's my fuel. Like, I'm gonna do my best every single day. I'm not gonna beat myself up for what I didn't get done the day before. I'm just gonna do it today.
Absolutely. I love that. Giving yourself grace, giving yourself room to make mistakes.
Yeah, that internal dialogue is something that I notice like runs a lot of people away from me. Because I'm in a industry where people literally have to sit and watch my page for years before they even buy a class.
Yeah.
I've been training for almost 3 years now, and I can't tell you how many times I've had people that's like, oh, I've been following you for such and such years. I was scared of you. I ain't did nothing that was scary. Why would you compare my workouts to your starting point? I've been doing this.
Exactly.
I wouldn't throw you into the fire like that, but because you internally talked yourself out of it and told yourself this is something that you're not capable of doing, that's why. So I think another thing that parents should be able to incorporate, especially in the morning, is those affirmations.
Woo!
Like, we're gonna have a good day. We're gonna try. We are having a good day today. We are going to be productive today. We are going to, you know, make sure that we're, you know, doing the things that we need to do. So I think definitely affirm yourself in front of your kids, because then they'll start doing it unconsciously. The things that we do now, our babies are just sponges. They're taking in everything. From the way that you talk to yourself, from the way that you talk to other people, how you talk to them.
Absolutely.
So I think that's something that I've definitely been more conscious of and doing more work for myself.
I think you made a very good point. They do as they see, not as you tell them. They are going to do exactly what they see. They don't give a damn about what you said. They do not care what they see you do. Which is why a lot of times you see people when they talk, or little kids, you see them talking to their action figures or their baby dolls. They talking to the baby dolls.
They're mimicking.
Exactly. And that mimicking is actually going to become a behavior, because otherwise they wouldn't be talking to that kid, their little toy like that. So you're absolutely right. And being mindful how we talk about our kids when they're not around, because they are always listening.
Yeah.
Always, trust me, they always listen. That's why they always in your conversations. They always over here.
Yes, they little nosy old people.
So nosy. So nosy. My kid is so nosy, man. It's crazy.
And then they hit you with it like 3 weeks later. Like, Mommy, remember when you did this?
Like, what? Like, how do you even know?
What are you talking about?
Thank you. Why were you even listening? Go somewhere. Why are you standing here? They are nosy. They do not forget anything. That is very true about them. So we got to be mindful about how we talk to them, how we talk about them, and how we talk around them, because they are going to do the exact same thing. But before we go, you got to tell the people, Briahna, where they can find you at on social media.
Yes, so you can find me on my personal page. It's Briahna, so it's spelled different, BRIAHNA MARCHE. So that's my personal page. You can also find me on the Hype Wellness Group. It's the same for Instagram, Facebook. So yeah, I've been working a lot just to make sure, like I said, I'm asking for help. So that's why I made the post. Like, I do too many free classes and I got too many events for me not to be talking about this on a regular basis. So I definitely appreciate you for, you know, reaching out and being a part of, you know, just spreading the word and letting people know what we have going on over here.
Absolutely. I was like, oh, I can do this. I can help her with this.
Yes.
And I want you at the end of this, please send me, please send me flyers so that I can help post them as well, because I would love to share about it. I definitely want to go to one anyway. So it's a little bit for me, a little bit for them. And so a big thing is we got to go out the same way we come in, and we got to get something that we're grateful for. I'll let you go first and then I'll close it out.
I'm just grateful to have this conversation. I'm always in my head being an entrepreneur. Like, do people really like me? Like, do people know what I got going on? Do they know? Like, you know, I'm not trying. I'm becoming a big deal over here.
Period.
So I'm definitely, I just, you know, just want to express gratitude for having me on here, for, you know, just indulging in this conversation, and really letting people know what we have going on. it's rough doing this full time. So I appreciate anyone who puts out a helping hand, no matter what the cost, because nothing is free.
Nothing.
And so, you know, I really, really do appreciate it. And everyone who tuned in, even if
Absolutely.
it's peekaboo.
Absolutely. Well, I'll go ahead and say I'm grateful for the post you made. I'm so happy that I got to help and that I can help spread the word as well.
Yes.
I'm so grateful because this was so fun. I was really just sitting here like, yeah, she right. I like this.
Yes.
So, grateful as well for this conversation. I am really grateful for what you're doing and including the babies. Like too often we just focus on the adults. Like we got to get our bodies right and we got to get these babies right and minds right as well. So I love hearing about the kids. I also wanted to give a shout out to everyone that joined us, our beautiful viewers. Thank you guys so much for joining myself and Briahna tonight. And I think that's all I got. Again, thank you so much, Briahna, for joining me. You've been an amazing guest. I truly appreciate it and enjoy our conversation. I think that's all I got. My name is Sherelle Carter, you guys. I'm the host of Let's Talk the Show, and this ain't a podcast. I'll see you guys next Tuesday. Peace.